live. Welcome back to the BearNet. We are running with a bare bones crew here tonight. For now, it's just me and Majo. Ghost is still on his hiatus. Alex said he was going to be back for the stream, but he has not shown up yet. We will see. We're trying to see if we can't get a hold of Hikage, but he is nowhere to be seen yet.
If the viewers would like to be participate in the stream, I might have spoken too soon.
Oh, there's Alex.
Alexander appears.
Your timing is good. We just
Hey, did you guys start already?
I just started the stream. We had actually hopefully I've worked out my audio problems from the last 2 times I have streamed. If you viewers still see audio problems with the stream, let me know and I will tweak it some more.
Tell you what, I'll log in.
Alright. We don't have too much to talk about here today, but we do have a little bit. And I guess we'll just kind of shoot the shit while Alex logs in and gets everything squared away.
Herp to derp.
But yeah, so my naming habits for the episodes are a little bit more fanciful than Ghost's are, so expect bear puns.
Well played, sir. Well played. Oh God. Alright, well I started to hear us, but then I don't know what happened.
What do you mean?
Oh, now I'm on some commercial. So I can't tell you what the sound quality sounds like on it.
Okay, well I sent you an invite.
Okay.
I apologize in advance to our viewers. I am at the wit's end of my patience for this stupid tournament, so I am running Skill Crow for now, which is probably not the most entertaining thing to watch, but it is what it is.
Or is it the most entertaining thing to watch?
Well, I don't. If you like seeing lights pop into a puff of smoke and fall over, then I suppose it's probably pretty entertaining.
Yeah, dog. That's what I'm
Sans, you are in luck, because just today, in fact, they want to go right into the news. They have reduced the requirements for the polygon drops.
Ah, yes.
This tournament. So instead of 300, 400, now need 200 for the stage 1 or 300 for the stage 2.
I just linked it in the chat as well.
Much easier in my opinion. Especially since I'm running a Shadow Cat.
Hide preview video, yes. Go away, preview video.
Oh my... It's still advertising! Stop! Just stop!
Seriously, game? Seriously.
It sounds like we're okay. It didn't sound like you were the god of the god emperors and that
before, when I was the great and only voice ringing out like a clarion bell across the wastes of MechWarrior Online.
All hail
Mine
Sans.
is the only voice worth listening to, ass.
Yeah, I boosted the shit out of the desktop audio and then lowered my audio, so hopefully it should even out.
It sounds better, yeah, definitely.
So
here's hoping that.
You know it. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying. Here's hoping we don't get the shit kicked out of us.
Yeah, because this is
detecting a imbalance in the teams here.
I'm hoping for just 200 because it's one of the maps I need.
Oh shit! This is the map I need too.
Yep. I think you'll have an easier time than I will.
Why do you say that?
I'm a Shadow Cat. If I get looked at wrong, I still blow up. And if I look at someone wrong, I blow up from heat.
Artillery strike online.
I will never understand your fascination with the Shadow Cat.
It goes back a long time.
Well, lore-wise, it's a pretty ominous mech, which I think is cool. But in terms of like actual gameplay, it's quite mediocre.
It's not. Its iteration isn't very good in this particular game.
No. Although lore-wise, this is a little bit of tidbit. The Shadow Cat is one of the mechs that the Inner Sphere had the most difficulty actually pinpointing, because no Inner Sphere mech that got into combat with one ever survived. Which is a pretty ominous little feather to have in the mech's cap. Unfortunately, that does not apply to the Shadowcat in this game. Which is,
Online.
Yeah,
has
that's
weak
why it's
called
guns
punching bag.
and dies quite quickly.
Yes.
and that's why it's called the Shadowcat for both Inner Sphere terminology and clan.
Yep, they didn't have a chance to make a moniker before they actually started talking to the
New
clans.
target acquired.
Sort of talking, anyway. In so much as the clans in Inner Sphere talk to each other.
Yeah.
Ghost Bear does, you know.
Yeah, but the Shadowcat's
Wolf in
not...
Exile does.
His Shadowcat's not really a Ghost Bear mech, though.
No, I suppose not, but...
What are we doing here?
New
Are we
target.
gonna
Doesn't mean
actually,
they
like...
don't have some.
They do have some, I think, yeah. Being down in this little river place is bad. Why are we down here? This is a
I don't know.
terrible place for us to be.
I was trying to trade with people, but they've got large lasers, and I do not
Hey,
have those.
Sans, there's a light in C5 up there. I don't know if you can hit him from where you're at.
New target acquired.
Fucking invisible walls.
I can hit him.
And I'll have to apologize to the viewers.
New target
I'm currently
acquired.
thinking,
Batman! Odd
And-
Mage's Batman!
and I sound like a discount Batman. So,
I mean, discount drug Batman saves you the runaround. You'll find everything you need!
but yep, it's back to school season, and naturally all the college kids came from summer laden with germs
New
and
target
sickness.
acquired.
So, UAV above us.
New target acquired. Enemy base is
Yeah.
being captured.
UAV down.
Okay. There's a Warhawk in that corner there. I just RD'd him.
Yeah, he's moving to the
Let's
left.
push him!
There's a Hellbringer here too.
Okay.
Jaeger over on that side, too.
Left torso on that Warhawk.
Oh, it's a Hellbringer. Look at that.
And a Enforcer, almost a Vindicator. Just put up a UAV.
Target destroyed.
They have 3
He's
UAVs above
dead!
Critical damage. Enemy base is being
Up,
captured.
up, up, up!
New target acquired. Left torso critical damage.
Fuck is behind
Right torso critical
Where
damage.
is our team?
Right arm destroyed.
I don't know if I'm getting my poo handed to me.
Destroyed.
us. Our team decided to not follow us over here.
Center torso critical
You Raven.
damage.
And I'm dead.
SRM destroyed.
Hey,
No,
Sans,
Executioner, no!
if we wish to survive, we might want to get across the river.
You should probably just go.
Okay.
Heat level critical. Heat level critical. Right arm destroyed. Small pulse laser destroyed. Overall
Oh,
heat level
I don't remember that
critical.
being there. Screw you, Gaushager, you missed.
Is he running, like, a Gauss and Peeps?
He's running Gauss, Peep, and some mediums.
I see. Well, that's stupid. Why does he have mediums on there? If he's gonna do that, he should just fucking run LPLs or a shitload of mediums and a Gauss.
Ouch. I think I took out. That was either his
You
arm
blew
or his
something
actual
off
Gauss.
of him. You got something behind you.
New target acquired.
Fuck.
It might be. That Firestarter might be the one I fucked up at the beginning of the match.
I'm gonna go over here.
You know that there's a big flat plane now that they can just gun you down as you try to remaneuver across.
New target acquired. Left torso destroyed. Left arm destroyed.
Your ECM! Now you're dead.
Yeah. I don't think I got 200.
I probably got 200.
I would have if the team had actually, you know, helped us over there, but...
Left leg critical damage.
Yeah. Well, we didn't really enunciate or even voice that we were going over there.
Entered your channel.
Hey, Kira, how's it going?
Hello, Kira.
I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I mean, usually something has to be voiced first for it to be enunciated properly at all.
Well,
So, you know.
look who's joined us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I got out of work late today.
Hey, I got 200.
Damage?
Too bad I didn't get 300, which is what I needed.
Oh, score.
User joined your channel.
Yeah, let's 3 4-mans versus a bunch of 2-mans and pugs. That's balanced. It's gonna work. Thanks, matchmaker.
Absolutely.
Sounds balanced to me.
Oh my god, it's Phil.
Wait, really?
Holy shit! A
Yeah.
wild Phil appears.
Holy
Hey, what's
cow.
up, Phil?
Okay,
How's it going?
thought you were up and recorded. Figured come in here and steal spotlight.
That's all right. I mean, we're kind of running on a bit of a skeleton crew tonight, anyway. So
I mean,
It's
you're a
not-
superior replacement to Ghost anyway, so I mean, we'll gladly take it.
No, no,
Right.
man. Ghost is pretty awesome.
You're not supposed to defend him when I just complimented you.
Whatever
Do you
makes me
wanna-
not look like always the asshole. So
Well, I suppose that's fair.
That's kind of my job, so, you know.
So you're gonna drop with us, Phil?
I'm actually not a gamer now. I just figured last time you guys had a few questions or topics, and I just chimed in. Didn't know what was on the docket tonight.
I think it's a pretty light docket, but you feel free
It
to
is.
chime in whenever. Speaking of which, I don't think... Did you check Russ's Twitter today?
Here, I've got a...
Yes, we do have a couple of things from the Twitter, and I guess the first thing to start with would be patch notes, which are here. You can have them.
Wow,
Patch
thanks.
notes. You can have them. They are
I can has patch notes?
yes.
Very cool.
They're pretty cool. It's mostly it's nothing humongous, but a couple of really cool things got put in this. Well, will be put in tomorrow. The Black Knight will be in the patch tomorrow, so the IS is
The Black Knight always triumphs.
yes. We'll get another 75-ton heavy choice outside of the Orion, which is pretty sweet. I'm expecting it to have lots and lots of energy hard points. Well, we know it has lots and lots of energy hard points. I'm not sure how well it's going to work with those low-slung arms, but we will see.
I ran around it today.
Oh yeah, I missed this stream. How was
Yeah?
it, Phil?
Um,
what do you think of it?
Well, the first thing you'll notice is they're almost all identical, and
Yeah.
I think this sort of goes back to not necessarily a problem with MWO, but just a problem with
Like, just the lore behind BattleTech.
yeah, and then you know it's one of those things where okay, you have to have at least 3 variants, sort of thing, and you pick 3 chassis that or a chassis and something that you can do 3, or you have to create and this sort of stems from I would say a bigger problem in MWO, which is I call it chassis creep, which is
nominal.
regardless of the quirks, you have this inherent system that okay, what does a 75-tonner with a bunch of energy do any worse or better than a 70 or a 65 or so forth? And are there clear winners just based off of before even quirks are introduced? And then because of the current quirks, you have a 75-tonner coming in here, and you don't want it OP, so it has just a handful of this or that, and so is it gonna do anything so especially with stuff like the Thunderbolt 5SS or 5S or 9S or there's
Any
just
of the
mixed-
Thunderbolts, yeah.
right? I mean, and this is one of the problems I have with this sort of power creep that's happened because of some of the weapon quirks, and you know, we haven't seen any changes, and obviously with the PTS and sort of Rust and, you know, all this, there's a lot to sort of look at when it comes to all this. But you have a system that 75-ton mech.
Acquired.
What is it good at? What is it different? And some of the geometry and actual physical locations of the hard points are really going to make it or break it, depending on compared to other ones. And that's it's a really tough thing.
Yeah, for me, I think that my issue is regardless of balancing or power creep, mechs need to be fun to play and unique. And the Black Knight having a bunch of energy hardpoints that are all the same makes that hard to do. I mean, I don't see how they're going to do it without quirks.
Right. Well, it's trying to apply some intrinsic value that, you know, like, hey, you guys bought this, you know, whatever, however, the $60 package, since I didn't go for the Marauder, right? You're trying to give some reason to make that particular thing stand out and, you know, be different, if nothing else. Like, it doesn't maybe have to be the best at what it does, but at least it could be sort of good at what it does and maybe do something unique that isn't currently out there. And, you know, when you just slap a bunch of energy on a mech and say, oh, hey, here's something. I mean, we've already have mechs that do something very similar
I
to
missed.
that.
Hey, real quick, do you guys have any ECM down there? I see a lot of missiles.
Yeah, let's get down below.
Oh, here, I'll just come down with some ECM.
Yeah, I'd
Below,
rather
maybe.
be below in this situation. I think that they're kind of banking on us being up here.
And actually, Phil, since you are here, that's a perfect time to ask. I know this was a long time ago. This is probably a couple of years ago. But Russ at one point said, you know, we're not going to really try to introduce chassis that don't add something to the gameplay experience. Do you think they've kind of gotten away from that because of the power creep at this point and the need to kind of keep, you know, both the clan and IS side balance, you know, roughly equal, and at the same time also not totally, you know, make former chassis obsolete?
Hit them all at the same time.
Well, I would say probably yes and no, but I think the intention here is
Target destroyed.
so
Get out
the
of
free
my
to
way.
play sort of
There we go, like that, guys.
stems. That's where you get the sort of 3 mech, right, idea. You know, you don't have a tier system, so that's how the progression.
You're backing
works.
up into me. Get out of my
The
way.
problem I think is at the very start of things
Whoa,
with
get out of my
IGP
way.
and PGI. In a learning state, I would even say with PGI is there were chassis introduced that were way too familiar. I mean, you look at the Stalker and the Battlemaster, they're identical. I mean, the only literal difference on them is hardpoint placement and
which makes the
physical
Stalker
geometry.
Fantastically better, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So, and then on top of that, we look at the Stalker. And
I am lagging. Holy crap!
We have like, you know, 3, 4, 7 chassis or 7 variants, and
Right.
so now you have, you know, 13, 14 mechs that are almost identical in nature. I mean, and
Holy crap.
a lot
LRM
of these,
60 Mauler.
a lot of these happen, you know, early on. I mean, I think there were good choices, like the Hunchbacks are all different, awesome. Centurions
Yes.
are all different, awesome. I think what happened is, okay, well, you know, here's these new mechs, but the problem is there really isn't anything that separates them, and that's where I will say I know weapon quirks tend to, okay, this one is better at poking, but this one's better at range. But the only problem is that still increases power creep, and that really isn't, to me, all it does is it adds to the firepower value. It doesn't create any uniqueness, and I think that's, you know, when you were saying uniqueness, I think you have to step back and look at what are things they could do to make a mech unique. Maybe it's not even in the game right now, and that's what I think has to occur instead of just weapon quirks shouldn't be the only thing, because it leads to
Well,
go-to.
There's always going to be the best quirk.
I half agree. I half agree. I think that weapon quirks shouldn't be the only thing that gets relied on, but I also don't think that PGI should just stop using them. I think that weapon quirks do have a role for making certain mechs unique and fun. I just
Like
don't think armor and information gathering quirks are as fun to play as weapon quirks. So I think just throwing them away is a huge mistake. I think they just need to be properly balanced.
A good example is the Panther with the ERPPC quirks, or just the regular PPC quirks. There are plenty of mechs that, like the Hunchback 4G with the AC-20, where they have a signature weapon that they're mostly designed around that weapon, and it makes sense for them to have that weapon quirk. Not something insane, but something that makes them unique and fun to play.
Yeah, I get that. And weapon quirks, I can tell you from an official standpoint, aren't off the table. I think what I tried doing in that video too is to let people understand that when you talk balance, you have to look at so many layers of every single mech, the skill tree, the actual physical systems that affect XL, DXL based on your engine size, the disproportionate towards clans. Like, clans are OP in nature. Clan tech, it's vastly superior. I mean, Indo and Pharaoh does the exact same thing, but it's only 7 crits each compared to 14. That is literally 100 times better statistically than the IS side. Double heat sinks, they're on par with IS. At least they didn't do that, but they're true crit slots. That is, 33, almost that better. And also just sort of where you can put and how many you can put. I mean, obviously with clan mechs having so much payload space and only X amount of hard points, that means for an optimal loadout you can stuff a ton of doubles on there. So it creates this, and of course looking back to the systems is how to work around the system. You can literally increase your max capacity, not to mention your heat dissipation. So not only does it sort of play into the laser meta, but it also caters towards it. I mean, there's other things. Weapon quirks aren't off the table. I can tell you from a official standpoint, that's not off the table. But one thing I think people need to understand is because of everything so convoluted, like you can't get a clear picture, and we haven't had a clear picture. Like, what is a commando sort of mislinks? You can't compare those because of weapon and structure and any quirks that are out there. So I think the question, I know I'm sort of jumping ahead on here as far as the Black Knight.
Go for it.
But I think this sort of goes to one thing is the Timberwolf currently, if you compare it to the 75-ton Orion or with the upcoming Black Knight, with a standard 300 or just a 300, doesn't matter if it's standard XL, the Timberwolf is around 20 to 25% faster in all of its mobility attributes. So before you even start off, you have imbalances there. And someone could say, well, it has a bigger engine, but this is also a game and there has to be balance. So even if you were to say, behind the scenes, you were to nerf Timberwolf by 25% in those attributes, and maybe it doesn't show, it's not negative quirks, but maybe you just do it behind the scenes, so it's just the base stat. So the Timberwolf still has substantial amounts of load space. They equal armor, equal structure, but then the difference between Clan and XL, and this is something that's key here, is it's like taking an IS and the best attributes in all the variants. That's what a clan combi makes.
Yeah, it is.
So, and I wonder, is that something like, because right now we have, you mentioned it, like torso twist, yaw, pitch, whatever. It's all linked with that engine size. And that,
it's multiplied. So the base numbers are assigned. Those don't really matter. But what happens is whenever you take an engine, it does the tonnage, the engine, it does the whole formula, and it kicks out what your Excel. That's why you have engine creep, which is across the board the bigger the engine, the better. I mean, lights are probably the most obvious, just because for the most part you take the max engine normally because of XL and doing Pharaoh. Kirioni, I can tell you for 100% certainty, it'll be a clear, concise directive of what's going up on PTS. That is one thing, trust me, it'll be in text and video format. So,
and inserting myself there. I think that's going to be very helpful because I think that was, I mean, at least my opinion, that was the biggest problem with the last PTS was no one knew what was going on until, I mean, no one knew about what was going on beforehand. Knew there was a PTS and knew things were changed, but we didn't know anything specific.
Yeah,
so I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think that it's important to remember when they are when they do these quirks, and I hope they keep it in mind, is that there's a sorting algorithm for these quirks, and I almost personally think of it as a stack. You know, weapon quirks are better than armor quirks. Armor quirks are better than mobility quirks. Mobility quirks are better than information warfare quirks. So you're going to have to make sense of what you do.
What you saw, any sensor or info?
Oh no, I'm fully aware. We actually made a disclaimer on our last video that was all like hard, just testing the sensor stuff, and it was
no. I just want to be clear that that's not information warfare, and I think this is something that needs to, and maybe I need to talk to Paul about it, but and I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. What is information warfare? Hold on. The reason I ask you this is because there's been no definition. We've actually never.
True.
What is
I'll agree with that.
Utilization of weapons and equipment and battle mechs to destroy the other team and or your opposing team systematically or altogether, whatever. I mean, it's pretty clear. It's a mech fighting game. Cool. But what is information warfare? And I think that the bigger question even is
let's take the center, guys.
Supposed to be its own equal pillar.
Target acquired.
So what I'm trying to say is mech combat and firepower is equal to information warfare, or is it supplemental to mech combat? And the reason I bring this up is because it's never been clearly defined, and that, unfortunately, even going forward, that needs to be defined. And then on top of that, game modes have to be made around that, and mechs have to have attributes that play with that, not just the mech combat. But we've actually never had information warfare, like what is information warfare and what is actually pertinent on the battlefield. What does this actually mean?
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you a hard question now, bringing that up, because I think it is relevant, and this is why my opinion is that they should treat information warfare like it will be supplemental to mechs and guns. What balance could they bring to the table that would mitigate a high skill player's ability to just point his mech at you and blast you in the face with like 70 points of damage? A good pilot doesn't need targeting brackets to do that. They've got a good eye, they're going to be able to spot you, and they prefer line of sight weapons. So regardless of, let's say they reduce the sensor range down to say 400 meters for big mechs, it's not going to stop someone like Twinkie Overlord from just blasting your face off. So how are they going to bring that balance in?
I don't think infotech, that means your bracket, your Dorito, your target info gathering, it pops up. I don't consider that information warfare.
Right.
I consider that just infotech. And to answer your question, we haven't had information warfare really clearly defined, or what is it? So in regards to, I think what we currently have is infotech. I think the only thing that might cross the line would be ECM, and the only reason I say that is because not only does it
got a few mechs in Echo 3.
Yeah.
It affects both the ability for situational awareness and
full lance in Echo 3.
Left torso critical damage.
You got India Direwolf in Delta 4. Right torso.
You guys are mid-battle, so
yeah, it's a bit of a sticky situation.
Yeah, but and that's what I'm saying is. So from that standpoint is what can be implemented and what can be designed to whatever information warfare is actually
okay, so let's
a pertinent and or weighty thing as much as mech combat, and that's what hasn't been done.
Let's take a step back, and I want to put in a caveat immediately, which is there's nothing that the game that can be done to the game to make a pilot like Twinkie not be able to murder you from any distance. So let's throw him.
Okay,
out
he was just the top level example, but let me give myself as an example. I'm a good pilot. I'm not like
but you're not even the
EMP.
average pilot. What we're talking about is trying to balance averages, right? So you're not even the example. I'm
Enemy UAV up in Echo 3.
The straight 500 guy that's like sitting right around a 1 KD, and he does some assisting during matches, but he also kind of runs off and does his own thing half the time. Like this. He's the average free-to-play kind of user, right? That's the whole thing with this. So with that in mind, like more than like balancing weapons, my thought is, what can you do?
Fucking Lima has it out for me.
With infotech or with info warfare to make that kind of like the guy who we kind of all dislike, that doesn't get on TeamSpeak and doesn't sort of actually participate in a larger group setting. How do we make his experience A, better, and B, more valuable to the team using information warfare / infotech? And I don't really know what that way forward is myself. We've added some things with the ability to throw down some nav points, and there's VoIP in the game now, but half of us have turned off. And is there what else can be modified in order? Also, I do work, son. I don't know what the fuck your people's problem is.
Hey, I did fine.
I ate like 6 mechs worth of firepower coming around a corner in Echo 3, so get off me.
So, Alex, I think we're asking a pretty broad question, and I think the best way, from my standpoint, would be to tackle it in segments. First off, we have inherently unbalanced systems behind the scenes. And so what I was talking about, Indo and Pharaoh, and the fact of you have a Stormcrow with 130 degrees yaw, and then because of the current system, to even balance it with other 55s across the board, it would have to receive extremely heavy, nerfs. So let me tackle that. You've got the PR aspect and not player reaction, but sort of player opinions, where the PTS, there was actually a lot of good things to take out of it. One, even though it may have brought like the Stormcrow or Hellbringer or whatever down a notch as far as the negatives, from a player standpoint, if they mouse over something and all they see is red, and especially if it takes 2 times the structure to even make an Atlas sort of tanky, you have an underlying problems that need to be addressed first. So I guess that's what I'm trying to say is, you have to fix the underlying things. You have to make it, and there's a few solutions, or a few possible solutions, which is, for mobility, what you could easily do is create just a weight class that every single weight tonnage bracket, the XL, DXL, whatever multipliers. So you break away the engine, basically what I'm saying. You disconnect the engine to mobility, and then you just set it. And then what that'll allow you to do is to make sure that a 60 or 40 tonner is always more agile in regards than their heavier counterparts. That also serves 2 purposes, because then when a player mouses over, they may not necessarily see the large nerfs. So for instance, the Stormcrow, if 55 tonners across the board were set behind the scenes, you wouldn't really see negatives as much, and when you do see them, it would be in small increments, and you'd actually possibly even see a lot more buffs.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm kind of interrupting you here, and it is with a non sequitur, so I might just keep it to myself for a minute.
No, and then I think the more question when it comes to is, if mech combat and these pillars that we're talking about, which is mech combat and information warfare, I think what just has to be answered, and this would be Paul, and this would be Russ, which is saying, we've had plenty of time under our belt, and we feel that mech combat is the primary pillar, and I think we'd all agree, that's given, would be information warfare is supplemental to it. But then what still has to be defined is, what is information warfare? Because if it's not really a secondary pillar, is it more just a supplemental pillar? It's not even considered a full pillar. If information warfare, defined by Paul, is these attributes that we're talking about, then they're really nothing, when you break it down to player skill, can negate all uses of those, just being able to just engage your target. So they would have to come up with other stuff that would be information warfare. I don't have an answer off the top of my head. Like, it would have to be other attributes of the game, and then game modes would have to play, because right now everything's about firepower. There is no
online.
And the reason I bring this up is take the Locust 1B.
Weapons online.
No matter what you do,
Forgot to update our win-loss
All
score.
systems nominal.
no matter
Oh,
what you do with that mech, it'll never be better at firepower than any of the bigger mechs.
Any
Right.
other light, really? Yeah, exactly.
So even if you make it where it's really good at infotech, what other thing does it do? I mean, and when this game is about mech combat, this is where game modes or information warfare, something has to be defined about information warfare. We're like, what does that do? Would then have to be built into the game, because other than that, then you have a mech that literally the only really time is, one, people just shits and giggles, or two, you actually have a tournament that you're forced to take one or something like that.
Yeah.
But then in the regular gameplay, that means you will have mechs that are pushed off to the side and are obsolete, even just from the basics.
The get-go.
Because
Yeah.
no matter, you know,
Well,
do you guys see what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah, I think that part of that is we just need to accept that there are occasionally just going to be mechs that are worse than other mechs. You're never going to be able to stop that completely. All we can do is mitigate it as much as we can and make less mechs shitty than are currently shitty. I think that hoping to make every single mech usable in the game and make it on par with, say, a Timberwolf, or on IS side, say, a Firestarter, is a little unrealistic. But I feel like they do deserve a role. And I wanted to bring this up. I don't know if you've probably talked to him already, but I wanted to see what you thought of it. I saw a video that Kanajashi linked about his impressions of the PTS and some of his suggestions. And one of the suggestions he had, which I thought was a really clever one, is inverting how infotech works as far as the PTS showed. Like, the way it was set up with the PTS was that mech's targeting range was tied to their size. So assaults would be 500, heavies and mediums were 600, lights were 800. And that's how far other mechs can be away from them before they can be targeted. What if you switch it around and make it that mechs of a certain weight size cannot be targeted until they are within a certain range? So a light can't be targeted unless it's within 400 meters of you. But assaults can be targeted from, say, 1,000 meters away.
And that's something that could be tweaked by a quirk as well.
Tweaked, yes, because then what you'd have is you could say really powerful lights have a bigger. Basically, what you're getting to is signature.
Yes. And I thought that was a really, really clever way to do the infotech, because, like you're talking about the Locust, which is super, but the Locust is super fragile, right? It doesn't carry a lot of guns, and it's super squishy. So make that thing only targetable by like 100 meters, so Locust pilots can actually just sneak around on the map.
No, okay, so reverse. You don't make it so you can only target at 100 meters. You make it so that at whatever distance it takes longer to lock on, because that's what you're proposing. Is if you're standing out in front of me at 500 meters and you're a Locust, and you're standing completely still, take X amount of seconds to lock on, right? Because you're a small mech, it takes your targeting.
No, that is not what he was saying. That he was saying that you can't actually target them.
But that's how you'd have to do it, because basically then it just becomes ECM.
Well, that's the idea, is that you give a small mech like that its own ECM that doesn't apply to any other mech.
But then what makes separates the Pirate Spain than any other Locust?
Yeah, and then on top of that,
One actually has ECM.
ECM needs to be fixed, which is ECM has been extremely OP from the start.
I don't know how much I agree with that, to be honest with you. ECM is good, but it's not that good.
Yes, but it is extremely OP and it needs to be fixed. Like there's no, like the left torso of the Hellbringer Prime. There's really no reason to not take it.
Well, that's not because of the ECM. That's because of the hard points in general. That Hellbringer's hard points are amazing.
Yes, but it's both. Like that's what I'm saying is, if you had a mech right now with three energy on the left torso, and then you had one with 3 energy in that ECM, you'd take the ECM every single time.
You know, I don't agree with you. I think most people would take the 3 energy.
Yeah, 3 energy is the way to go there, man.
Because we just had nothing on it, there would be very few hard points actually on the Hellbringer, and actually make it a difficult choice.
New target acquired.
Totally disagree. I would say if you had a choice between a Hellbringer with ECM on the same left torso and a Hellbringer without the ECM but the same hard points, you'd take it with ECM. It is across the board severely, and it's been broke since it started. I mean,
but what level of play are you talking about, too? Because that makes a huge difference also. If we go back to the Twinkie standard, he doesn't care. Like, if you have, like, he doesn't care if he can lock you. The pilots at the top 5% of the game could give
so basically what you're saying is, oh, well, if the top players don't really care, then don't touch it. That's
no,
correct.
I'm simply saying that as the skill level goes up, the number of like fire and forget weapons, like not even really
it's direct fire.
Yeah, it's
you got him, Major. I was after him so hard.
Your correlation between skill level and direct fire weapons goes up exponentially, right?
Yeah. But
so ECM at that level becomes almost obsolete at that point.
Yeah, I think that this is... I'm going to be blunt. In my opinion, I think this is a case of some forum warrioring, making this issue seem more severe than it actually is. ECM is not a factor that decides whether I take a mech or not. It just isn't. If it has ECM, great. If it doesn't have ECM, then I'll deal with it. The hard points and the hitboxes are the deciding factors as far as I'm concerned. Well, I know there are some people who really think ECM needs to be less powerful than it is, but I feel like it's not so much the ECM's the problem, but it's that LRMs are just not in a good place mechanically.
Well, it does factor in. I mean, what you're basically saying is it's not the end-all be-all huge problem, but it's a layer of problems. I mean, that's what you're basically getting at, is the fact of
alright, I could agree with that.
Is powerful, it is OP. It may not be the deciding factor, but it's a layer of one of the problems. I mean, when you have something that, like, you can literally move out in front of someone...
this is... Real quick, earlier we were just talking about how there's sort of that tier system of which quirks are useful. I mean, we just go back to that. Weapons are more useful than... What was it? It was weapons,
Weapons are the best. Armor is after that. Mobility is after that. And infotech is after that.
And not only that, I mean, not many people bring the mislinks anyway, but most, I mean, the mislinks has two builds. If you take the ECM, you take the PPC, but most people, at least I know, don't even bother with the ECM because that's giving the mech by such a large amount. You're now stuck to 1 or 2 energy points max, or some other missiles, ballistics, but from the mislinks, basically you want to be taking the energy hard points. So I think that's a perfect example of why that ECM is not as good as that, going back to the Hellbringer.
It's 25 tons of I died in, a few seconds. I mean, that's...
But even taking that into account, how often do you see a mislinks with ECM versus a mislinks with 4 ER medium lasers, which are they're mutually exclusive builds. You can't fit 4 ER mediums on if you have ECM because you don't have the hard points. When someone is legitimately bringing a mislinks, 9 times out of 10 I see them bring either 3 mediums and a small or 4 mediums.
But we're also talking about that's also why you'd rather take an Arctic Cheetah than a mislinks anyways.
Well, true, but there is a tonnage difference between the two.
We're talking about the ECM though.
I know, but what I'm getting at is the idea that ECM, one, it is OP, and it's been OP from the start. I don't think that's anything wrong saying that or realizing it. It is there's really no trade-off. Now, at the higher skill level, it may not be as important, but it still does factor in. I mean, that's why you see it being used. I mean, and also the fact of it does negate a large port. I mean, LRMs are pretty much the only weapon that requires the lock-on or streaks. But my point being is it does negate that from the game, albeit, I will agree, LRMs and the mechanics need adjustment, and if they were more skill-based, that would put them in a lot better place. I get that. But as far as going back to what we were sort of talking about was...
I wanted to ask you something specifically, actually, Phil, because you actually just mentioned it, which was... So you were talking about game modes and the style of play versus the need for an infotech/info warfare pillar/supporting obelisk, whatever we want to fucking call it, right? So with that being the case, does the game mode change need to happen first to see what changes to infotech would be of the greatest value? Or does infotech happen first, and then the game mode changes come along to support that? Or is it developed together, and the community as a whole just has to wait longer for that particular process to be done?
I think we just need a clear definition and expectation of what information warfare is. And then, like I can already tell you, for the next PTS, there's a bunch of changes coming. There's alterations, there's new additions, there's even takeaways and across the board. And like I said, what needs to be happening is when a PTS goes up, it needs to be a clear directive of what you guys need to test. So regardless of what a quirk is on a mech, or lack of, or whatever, you're not there potentially to test that quirk. What you're there is to test out whatever is supposed to be tested. So let me just clarify that. But I think information warfare just has to be defined. That's literally one thing we've never had. Like, this is information warfare. And that would be if Paul says information warfare is those attributes. It is infotech. It's those things. Well, then okay. So basically I would say it's supplemental, and that's only it. And really, then it would just be game modes need to just improve altogether in general. But if you made it so information warfare was something else completely, entirely, then I mean, at the end of the day, they're 15-minute matches, right? And that has to be factored in.
Right. Okay, I'm going to elaborate here on what I feel like one of the issues with infotech is, and why I brought up the targeting range thing that kind of Joshi had spoke of. Right now, there's really no way to maneuver around the enemy team without being detected. Even with ECM, the chances that you're going to get your entire battle group in the ECM, the entirety of your motion, are very slim. And all it takes is that one little beep beep, and the person that you're trying to sneak up on immediately knows you are there. So there's no real flanking. There's no I guess you'd call like covert ops. Lights can't maneuver around because the enemy team will almost immediately know they are there. So how do we add a layer to the game that lets a team exploit being hidden as a mechanic, or sneak around the enemy team to set up ambushes without changing how mechs target one another?
Is that
500-meter fog? No, I'm joking.
Five or more everywhere.
Yeah. No. I think that's the tough question. Is saying, when I can shoot you, and this problem has only been exacerbated by the range of clan mechs, but when I can shoot you, do damage, and or kill you, and I don't need that lock on, you're then sort of forced to. Is that the end all be all?
Oh, come on, matchmaker, please! Please? Can we just have, like, some scrubs on the other team, one match? Maybe?
No.
Sorry, Phil. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I was like wondering what you were talking about. So
We got SJR.
Weapons online.
I am never going to finish this challenge.
Nope. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for that.
Wait, so what are we at? Are we at 2 wins and 2 losses?
Does
that sound
it's
right?
about to be 3 losses.
I wanted to say 3 wins, but that might just because we're about to lose again.
You know, Sneech could be on our side, and perhaps the winds of change blow in our favor.
I really doubt that, because I think he changed his mind about blowing in our favor.
Or perhaps,
anyway,
perhaps it's the eye of the storm, and there's just no wind blowing whatsoever.
He's blowing something in our face, but I don't think it's winds of favor.
Hey-o! Alright, well, okay.
Sorry to cut you off there, Phil. You want to finish your thought?
No, it's just sort of got me sidetracked.
Sorry.
No, so here's the thing: is if the main pillar is mech combat, and it's only supplemental info warfare is what this stuff is, then what you have to say is, okay, well then, are we happy with where mech combat is, and then you'd have to break it down. Are we
No.
happy where, with the alpha potential out there? Are we happy with the heat potential? Are we happy with the movement potential? Like, I have no problem with a mech being really good at something, but then it's not so good at other things.
Right.
And
But the problem is there's mechs that are good at everything.
well, that, but also you'd have to sort of say, time to kill was definitely an issue that was at least being looked at by PGI as far as the PTS. Like, I think people understood that. People also were looking at the balance, which that wasn't supposed to be looked at, but it's all right. My point being is, then what you could say is, do we want
activated.
90 some odd alpha potential out here? Do we want the mechs? And if not, well, do we outright just nerf weapons, or do you outright the systems underlying some of those? And I think that's what you sort of have to answer is, clan mechs right now are dominant because of, one, high heat capacity, longer range weapons, harder hitting weapons, lower tonnage weapons, better crit space on items. The list goes on and on. What I was talking about before with the Timberwolf and the
Let's
Rhine,
withdraw.
right?
That's a withdrawal to our battle line. These guys aren't coming up here.
Target acquired.
Let's pull back into Echo 4. No point to die on this hill. Yeah, I agree. I know, although I think that the clan balance versus IS balance you can chalk up to a couple of main serial offenders.
Can we just not talk about balance, because that's not relevant to the issue? What is relevant to the issue is actually another thing that Phil just kind of mentioned, but I want to go into further, which is 15-minute match time kind of the issue there?
Echo 4.
Like, I mean, so in my thought, right, so you play MOBAs, Phil. I know, because I play with you, and you also stream them. And you have, like, kind of like the two different... You have, like, your League of Legends and whatnot, that matches can go on for an hour or more, and your Dotas, or you have your, like, here's the Storm, where they're, designed to be much more quick. But that being said, both types of game have, good points and bad points, but is that perhaps something that could also be looked into, where it's the match time itself, and maybe a way of extending that out and giving more objectives and more things to do, make CW matches an hour, and make like, maybe there still are 15-minute matches that we have right now, but maybe there's a 30-minute match type also, where you have maybe some other things that get involved in that scenario, perhaps involving infotech. Maybe you're just dropped in, you have no idea what your objective is. Maybe your scouts have to run up and figure out, okay, there's an enemy base, and by, maybe they have a tag laser on board or whatever, and by highlighting certain objects, you'll get like a comm call that comes in and says, hey, today we're going for the, shield generator, or today we're going
You do have that voice actor.
Right. Today we have, we're going for the, orbital cannon, or today we're going for the supply depot, whatever, insert thing here. Where it kind of changes match to match, and you're not like, you can just run the base and start blowing shit up, but you're not necessarily going to find the thing right away if you just randomly do that. And having those dedicated scouts to go out there first, and you kind of, skirmish with the, same on the other team. Your defenders would have some scouts that would run out, or some interdictors, and they would try and keep the enemy team from being able to see what the actual objective is for that match. I mean, obviously, we're talking about a much more complex, fluid game mode right there, but isn't that kind of something we all want, instead of just, I shoot enemy mech shoot me, one of us die, I win or lose?
UAV activated. New target acquired.
I mean, yes and possibly. I mean, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, game modes are just one of those things that have been so very binary and static. I mean, you literally, like, even if information warfare was a thing, or what place does some of these mechs have on skirmish? Like, none. Like, the one thing they had, or at least possibly had, you just took away, right? The ability to go run behind a cap or whatever, you totally eliminated that. There are game modes that, I mean, Conquest used to be about cap, I remember the days, but then clans came
New
in, time to
target
kill
acquired.
went down, weapon
Clans
quirks
were
here.
not the sole cause of that, though.
No, but it's multiple layers here. My point being is there used to be a lot more cap wins. Now, someone could argue, well, Conquest is sort of boring or this or that. Sure, make adjustments, but Assault as well. I mean, we have one game mode in the game right now, and that's Deathmatch. You will be killed, or I mean, yes, on occasion you do get this, or I mean, but
ultimately
it's
it's basically skirmish.
So, sure, I mean, game modes across the board, I feel,
Net gone. Critical
just
damage.
need to be improved.
SRM destroyed.
I mean, I don't think there's
New
anything
target acquired.
sort of unclear about that, you know.
I cannot believe that we won this match.
We haven't won yet, but it's looking that way.
It's Jaeger! I want to kill Jaeger so bad! I'm sorry, we're actually like having two separate things going on here. You and Alex are talking about this, and the rest of us are stuck in.
Brain. I don't know. I just like dying, and then I get to pick Phil's brain, and that's really the only thing that I like to do.
There's some, I mean, this is, like I said, it's very hard sometimes to talk about this without, like, having notes down to make sure you cover all the bases,
Yeah.
but there's a few things here. Like, one of the main problems with just mech combat in MWO is that you literally have ranges on either clan weapons, quirks, or quirks in general in IS. You have ranges that you can literally kill, you know, people at pretty damn far. You have, and again, the inherent systems below, which is you can make a mech run more efficient as far as heat. There's something that could happen. I mean, what happens if, I'm just metaphorically speaking here, but what happens if you were to desync the ability and set the heat capacity on an older mech, or you say, you know what, we want to keep the clan mechs still sort of OP and sort of that nature, but we need to hit them in heat efficiency. So what you do is you hit them in heat capacity, right? Because it's a smaller, can't hold as much, still good at heat efficiency. And then on the IS side, you let the heat dissipation where it's at, but you increase capacity. So you're sort of looking at the problem of underlying systems, not saying, well, this one gets plus 10 heat gen and that one gets plus 10 heat gen, but you're trying to fix in the system, just total metaphorically speaking here. But there are other ways that you could tackle, but there's just so much to talk about when it comes to just balance, and then it does lead into clan versus IS. I mean, that's inherently what the game's about, especially as you move up. Like, what is the point of playing IS when you can't, like, if everything's stripped off and you're back to stock completely, no quirks, where does IS stand versus clans? And the reason I think that's important is saying you have community warfare that is literally about those, and if IS has nothing to compete, it obviously needs to, but where do you tackle things? Do you buff mechs across the board in this attribute? Do you nerf the other side? And to me, I would say, I think it's a little bit easier for players to not understand, but to accept that instead of their Stormcrow getting negative 45 to the CT on its torso yaw or whatever, which then combination hard points, it still has 90 or 100. But would it not be better just nerfing it behind the scenes so no quirks have to be displayed, or very little, or nerfing or buffing?
Players don't like
sinks?
the red marks on their mechs.
Right, or nerfing or buffing heat sinks. So what would happen if you decreased heat capacity on clan mechs? What you're basically doing is you're hitting...
Real quick, the issue with just doing a blanket thing on clan mechs is that, yes, it'll bring the Timberwolf, Direwolf, Stormcrow, and Arctic Cheetah more into line and some of the other heavies. But then you have, like, the Adder, the Kit Fox...
Let's make the Shadowcat worse! Yay!
You have all these other mech, Gargoyle, Executioner. I mean, they're not awful mechs, but they're definitely below par. And if
you're confusing heat capacity and heat dissipation. If a clan heat sink was better at dissipation, but crap at heat, that basically means if you have fire control, it actually perform well. And mechs with less weapons or the ability to micromanage your firing.
So are you talking about increasing heat dissipation at the same time? Because, I mean...
You do it slightly. They're already better when it comes to compared to IS, and the amount of heat sinks because of tonnage. So Mistlinks would actually be running cooler just because it doesn't have to worry about alphaing 5-6 lasers. Well, so the mechs that would be hit is the ones that are firing large weapon systems.
I personally...
Really what it comes down to is basically you're trying to balance alpha strikes versus DPS gameplay. I mean, in just pure layman's terms, right? Because if I can fire
Weapons
more
online.
things over time than I could at just
All
once by
systems
pressing
nominal.
button twice before I overheat, then you're just balancing the amount of firepower I can put out over time versus just a big blat of laser face in your face, right? But is that? I mean, yeah, that kind of helps some, the issues that we have with time to kill. But what you're actually sort of also not fixing that at the same time, because yeah, I don't get hit with as many alphas anymore, but I'm actually having more firepower be shot at me more quickly than I would in the alpha scenario.
I would like to bring this up, and this is something that Skuro mentioned in the chat, and I think that it is, in this case, if we're talking about behind-the-scenes mechanic changes, I think that you are trading one problem for a significantly worse one. A couple of hard truths. PGI has a history of some player mistrust. Now, I think they've done a whole lot in the past, say, year and a half, 2 years, to work that off, and they've done a very good job of it. I'm much preferring the post-IGP PGI in terms of communication and work. But if you hide mechanic changes to the mechs behind a screen, players are going to figure it out. They are. And they're going to mistrust PGI because of that action. And I think that is a much bigger problem for PGI as a company than the minor balancing changes or temperamental tweaks that it might net them.
Like, what are you talking about hiding? Nothing's being
Everyone
hidden.
get up over the saddle. They're not.
I'm sorry, hold on. I'm super
Everybody get
confused.
over.
We've got someone talking on VoIP, and it is actually like drawing my attention in two directions.
Turn VoIP off, especially when you.
Although we should be pushing into Delta 5.
I'm totally confused. Nothing's being hidden. All I'm saying is that you would change. No, Scranum, it's not. All I'm saying is, it's like saying who assigns the torso yaw rate of a Stormcrow. Does that mean once it's set, you can never change it?
New target
Like how
acquired.
sort of.
Well, no, it's just like if you don't talk about it being changed or
No,
anything like that,
God,
it's
like
like
guys,
you don't
come
notify
on, like
it.
how,
Target
duh, of
destroyed.
course, everything I'm talking about is clear and open, like, there would be a command post, there would be a video, it's all...
Okay, well in that case I've just
Like,
misinterpreted the conversation, and that's
one of the
fine. That's my
problems
mistake.
Right now on PTS is that, and this is something that I think needs to be fixed, is you don't have a clear picture. Like, you have to mouse
Target
over
destroyed.
every single
New
Omni
target
pod or
acquired.
every single, variant, and all you see is, like, you have to go down the graph to see what the torso yaw rate is, instead of it just showing you, like, hey, this mech has 90 degrees yaw and this pitch. And then on top of that, it doesn't show your XL, DXL, or torso speeds, anything.
New
So
target
that needs to be
acquired.
fixed right off the bat. So that's one of the problems, is what you're talking about. You don't know what mechs some of these stats unless you go digging on, like, Smurfy. Like, why? Like, and then that would be the question. I'm not talking about hiding stuff.
Well, it's just when you say like behind the scenes changes, it just kind of miscommunicates what you actually mean. Because the way we interpreted it was you're just adjusting something and you're not really talking about it.
No, God, come on, guys, really? Like, no, come on.
I feel well. Hey, no. In my
Like how stupid? That's like.
in my defense, bringing it up gave you the chance to clarify, which I think is important. That there's no room for miscommunication or misinterpretation here. So
Well,
there we go.
meant.
It is.
I was on board.
So we're talking about balance changes that are not directly tied to the quirk system. They're
I'm
just going
talking
to be
in
announced
general
on
here.
PTS.
I'm just talking in general. Like, for instance,
Yeah.
what I was talking about earlier is like desyncing the engine to movement attributes, and then you would set that on a per case basis or per 5-ton increments. But some mechs still might need to be nerfed. So, for instance, on the Stormcrow, even if you set those variables, maybe it still needs a hit on this or that. Those would be negative quirks that you'd actually see. But my point being is you would be able to see the torso twist angle, the yaw, and all that, blah, blah, blah. So nothing's being hidden. I don't...
Target destroyed.
Yeah.
New target.
Sorry, I'm a bit stuck in here.
Scranum, I'm totally confused, dude. Like, I'm not speaking freaking like crazy. All I'm saying is like.
New target acquired.
I don't know how
Target destroyed.
I think that both parties are talking past each other right now. I think that Scranum is talking about one thing, and you were talking about something that is different.
There, I let it good job. There.
I'm not sure. Maybe I'm misinterpreting it.
You're talking about reducing torso twist without putting negative quirks. No, what I was talking about was setting them on a earlier what I was talking about, which was breaking, desyncing them away from engine. That was where that discussion went. And then you would set it on a per weight basis.
Yeah, I like
any
that.
other adjustments would then be quirks positive
All right,
or negative.
all right.
Here,
so
Sans,
you guys would know all the info.
Like, go into your go into select a mech real quick. I'm gonna show him what he means. I think, and go into select a mech and extend the mech details on the mech stats.
Well,
and
yeah, I just admitted like that. It doesn't show you all. You should be able to click mech stats, and it says torso yaw rate, torso pitch rate, arm yaw, arm pitch, torso.
It does.
I'm right there. No, it doesn't.
It shows at the very bottom below.
Yeah, there's a
below the quirks.
pitch
But it
degrees.
doesn't tell you Excel. Does it tell DXL? Does it tell you? Doesn't tell turn rate. So you have no idea what that Excel means. Does that mean? What does that graph mean? Like
that's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, Scranton, this is what he's talking about. He's talking about taking this this information right here and making it more concrete, making it and changing those details right there, so that you can still see them. They'll mean more because you'll have concrete numbers.
So let's just say, for this discussion's sake, we were to say the base XL, DXL, whatever rates for a 55-tonner should be this. So these, right? I mean, you'd have a little table that would break it down behind the scenes or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Now, based on that, behind the scenes, the XML files, they'd be adjusted, blah, blah, blah. Well, let's just say the Stormcrow still needs adjusted, nerfed, buffed, whatever. You would then make the positive or negative quirks. The problem right now is that you don't really see what the base value is. Like, and that's one of the problems, is you have to go searching for the yaw or angle or twist, and then even then, it doesn't show you the entire picture. It's like on the PTS. The Stormcrow had like negative 45. People were like, holy shit. But when then you go down to that graph, oh, it's still 100 degrees. Yeah. Like, so it has, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's 130 right now, and it's still 100, but then all you see is red, and you don't get a clear picture of that's all I'm talking about is,
So saying instead of Stormcrow got a negative 45 degree nerf, you say Stormcrow had its torso twist reduced from 150% to 105%. So for clarity's sake.
I'm just saying
Am I understanding that right?
To click on mech stats, and you or me as a player should be able to know quickly. I don't need a graph, just tell me the number. Graphs are cool, I guess, but then even
they are cool. I don't mind if they have like a graph beside the number, but I would like the number.
Like
spreadsheets on land.
One of the problems
the issue is the graphs that they have aren't useful.
Well, all they do is they tell you the pitch up and down and yaw, but it doesn't tell you necessarily your torso twist or torso turn rate or XL or DXL. It does give you that weird graph, and it doesn't say, oh, from 0 to top speed it takes you 6 seconds, or nothing like that. So you're missing some of the picture.
Reactor
right.
online. Sensors online. Weapons
oh
online.
shit! I had another topic I wanted to talk about, but I forgot what it was.
Well, since we just dropped on Caustic, we talk about
yeah,
the
there you go,
screenshots.
Caustic Valley, the redone Caustic Valley. There
I'm
are
a fan of
screenshots.
those screenshots. I am a huge fan of those screenshots.
It looks super cool.
You have the there you go.
Bam, there you go.
Atlas.
I think that is a good question, Skuro. Or, not Skuro, I'm sorry, Scrandom. I don't know.
I've actually.
That's a
agree on
touchy
this,
issue.
Target acquired.
I'm gonna chime in here.
Sure.
And some people may not like this answer, but this is just my opinion. I think high-skilled players need to realize that
Artillery strike online.
opinions are one thing.
And are like assholes, and everyone has one.
And say when I talk about high skill players, I think they're an invaluable resource. They will tell you or show you ways around your systems. I.e., they can show you why this mech is OP, or why this is broken, or why this is that, just based off their actions, and or if you actually ask them.
Artillery strike.
That doesn't necessarily mean every single one of their opinions is right or wrong, or is right for the game.
True,
and I
fair.
think that a lot of people, one, don't like being told that, because, oh, what do you mean?
Well, the thing is, I feel like they, first of all, they'll know the most about the game, just intrinsically. They won't know the code, but they'll know how it plays the best out of anyone playing the game.
I get that, and that's what I'm saying is I think they're an invaluable resource.
Direwolf, Charlie.
Acquired.
Sorry, I think they're an invaluable resource,
we are in
and
a
that
bad
you
spot.
should listen and or realize what they're doing to negate the systems, and then make design decisions to either fix that if it's an undesirable behavior, and or make adjustments to improve, whatever. The problem is that some players at the higher skill literally are demanding that PGI does what they tell them, and that's where I don't agree. I agree that high skill players should be consulted potentially.
You consult the high level players that aren't doing that, because those guys are the ones that are going to be giving their opinion instead of.
It's a tricky situation when people are like, well, who are you talking to? Oh, that dude's a freaking scrub. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. You have so many opinions out there. I guess that's what is you have to be very careful. I'm not saying you don't do it. I'm saying that inherently, unfortunately, you do have players that use that as a trump card. If my idea doesn't get put in. Oh, I told you that like a year ago. Why didn't you listen? Or blah blah blah. Or it's just.
But the issue is, if you never consult them, they'll never shut up.
At the same time,
I don't think necessarily.
There's some people that just like to hear the sound of their own voice, and regardless of their skill level, they'll, again, like me, for instance, I like to hear the sound of my own voice. I just usually don't have a particular opinion, unless it's something particularly broken, like artillery strikes back in the day. Then I'm very opinionated.
Okay,
but that gets into the whole thing where some people just want to hear themselves talk, and their opinion, even if it might be true for the particular group of people they play with and the category of players that they play with, you have to remember there's another, like I would say it's a 5% range of the people you play it with. There's another 95% of people, like 30% people above you and 65 below you, the 5% you play with, that the game still has to be balanced and mechanics still have to work for all of them.
I think we're boned here, gentlemen.
Yeah, we were boned the second this match started.
But Alex, I agree. But here again, to sort of go on is, it doesn't like. I know, for instance, Paul realizes some of the shortcomings of some of the underlying systems that need fixed. So, and then this is where sort of PTS has to come in play. Is some of these core bottom features have to be adjusted, and then what you do is you use the PTS and use player feedback to say, okay, we need to either adjust or whatnot. I mean, perfect example, whether people liked it or not, the PTS that just happened, it was clear that sensor range had a negative effect as well. It basically gave like free ECM. Also, the fact that infotech in general shouldn't really be weighted in the equation. That was actually useful information. Now, whether people like just use that as cannon fodder to be like, oh, we fucking told you that, you should have known, just listen to us. It's like, guys, they're at least testing it. Changes are going to happen. But as far as players, I think what you do is you utilize your high-skilled players to inherently show you the things that are broken in your game, and potentially for suggestions here or there. But the idea that you cater towards one crowd, and unfortunately that's what would happen, is like, let's just say Rithen or whoever else was part of this little council that gave feedback or whatever, that does cause potential issues just from a PR standpoint of, well, why is he getting a voice or whatever, but my point being is it is a trickery and a slippery slope. I don't say it shouldn't be done, but you do have to take in considerations across the board. But some things, I think is fine. I mean, well, the problem too, Darth, I mean, with the PTS, which was people hopped on there, and there was no clear directive of what was being tested. And so they automatically assumed, oh, this is your attempt at clan versus IS balancing? This is completely fucked. Like, and that's what people were basically saying, when it wasn't clearly, talk
It just
about
wasn't communicated the intent.
No, and trust me, as soon that's why I put up the damn videos, because like on a weekend, I didn't have to do that. I was frustrated with the whole process, and I made sure to convey my frustration, and it's going to be fixed from here on out. Like, there's no more. I'm not letting that pass because of having.
I still need Tourmaline.
Me too. I haven't played Tourmaline at all yet. Okay, so
RNG.
I'm going to push on past here for a minute. We can come back to this if you would like, but I want to get my links dumped here as well.
We have more MS than I remember dropping with.
Here is a Twitter link from Russ stating that they have increased the early adopter rewards for the Marauder pack by adding 2 modules, and I think it's like 6.5 million C-bills to the pack.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then
sexy.
Last bit is that the patch notes have, I think I've already posted these, but we didn't get a chance to talk about one of the things that, although is not directly relevant to the conversation we were having now, I think is really important for new players. The MechWarrior Academy goes live in tomorrow's patch, which I think is important to note. It is the first real major tutorial system that MWO has had in it. And I'm not counting that video when you first install the game. That does not count. This is...
Really what about when I piloted Cataphract and it had me jump on a rock and then shoot something? Does that count?
I forgot about that. Okay, that counts. So I guess this is the second attempt at a tutorial. But this one, having played through it myself, is actually, like, good. I thought it was well done. So I'm excited.
I agree. It was very well done.
I wanted to give, you know, we're talking like contentious balance stuff here. I want to give a positive note for PGI's corner. Good job on that training academy. You did a really fucking good job. It is really good.
I alluded to it earlier, but that voice actor would be fantastic for CW maps.
He is the Stardock voice actor, is what I know him from. He's the guy who voices the Terrans in Galciv 2 and 3 and the Terrans in Sins of the Solar Empire. He's where I know that voice from.
Wait, Terrans or the
tech.
Yeah,
he's the tech guy.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I mean, he's not Advent, and I don't have a bunch of carriers, so I mean, I don't know.
But you gotta admit that his gravelly, like war-weary vet voice is fucking awesome.
Yeah. I mean, mega ultra space cannons for the win. Yeah, I'm down with that.
Imagine him, like, do you guys ever play, like, you know, like Battlefield or fucking Call of Duty or anything?
I'll be honest here, I'm just knocking down trees at the moment.
Dude, so am I. I was just about to say that. I'm just so amused by knocking over trees right now.
That's okay. I'm playing Tree Man over here, so.
Oh, I just got locked.
Can we Phil, new priority. I need a game mode where whoever knocks down the most trees wins.
Can we at least get a tree knockdown counter?
Yes, that would be excellent. Also, it would make the locust relevant again, because it'd be fast. It can knock over many trees. But yet,
Except one tree on the map knocks the locust over.
Yeah, exactly. No, there'd be like one tree that it would bounce off of and you'd immediately blow up. Like that would be, it'd be the trick tree, you know?
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Bravo legs.
Oh, I got a question for you, Phil. Did Darren bring up the topic of the whale horn?
The whale horn?
The what horn?
Whale horn. The war horn.
Did not. I'm gonna kill this blackjack. Give me a second.
Is there?
Here, I'll come with you, Sans.
Is there an Earth horn coming? Because I would
totally he was doing his 24-hour stream, sometime like 2 or so on Friday or whatever the hell. The topic of war horns came up, and we started talking about there should be a whale horn. And he's like, what would that sound like? So, you know, everybody made the dumb whale sound.
Right, yeah, exactly.
But,
I'm making Orca call, yeah.
Since I know he was... Ah, there he is. Okay, so he did not bring it up with Phil. So, amazing idea. Whale horn, and it should give away...
Alex, we are way out of position.
On this game.
Oh god.
A whale horn?
Oh, no, but there could be 3 different ones, right? Or no, there could be 4 different ones. There could be a bronze, a silver.
Also, hi Darren. How are you, Darren? It's good to see you, Darren.
And a diamond one. Don't forget diamond one.
Oh yeah, there's got to be a diamond one. But then you have to spend an additional 500 on just the
Gold Warhorn.
Alex,
the Warhorn.
Alex, what are we doing? You know we're gonna fucking die horribly when we come around this corner, right?
I'm an executioner, bro. I don't care. I'm the king of the battlefield. It said so on Sarna. It's all good, man. It's all good.
So, do you want to attempt to cap their base and hope lights will come back?
Yes, capping. I haven't capped in so long. Let's totally.
You know we're gonna catch so much flack from the enemy team.
New target acquired.
He sees us. He's seen us.
Oh right, Warhorn plus island cockpit item. That's right. That's
The island cockpit item is great, by the way.
Are you running? Dude, I wanted to cap the base, man.
Being captured.
Hold on, I'm gonna put a UAV up behind them.
Well, at this point, might as well kill that stalker at least.
Yeah, no, they didn't actually see me. I'm gonna run away. I can't believe I got behind the enemy battle line. Yeah, but it's a fucking... It is an Arctic cheetah, and he's about to die.
Yeah, he was. That was not good. Not good targeting on his point.
Oh, Alex, this is bad.
Destroyed.
This might actually turn out to be amazing, though.
New target acquired.
Like that one fucking... I mean, it's not exactly like... But,
India,
like
let's kill him!
Rushed the enemy base with a locust. On a
This is... He's in an executioner, and I'm in a storm crow, where he shouldn't be back here at all!
Critical damage.
It's totally working.
But you
there.
are. And that's the only thing that matters.
Praise be the God Emperor!
Kilo! Let's kill him!
Here, I'm with you guys now.
Oh damn, that guy's CT was red. I just touched him and he exploded.
I feel evil for what we did here, Alex.
Dude,
I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight.
Dude, this is the best thing ever. We just go knock over trees and are self-amused for like the first 5 minutes, and then we get behind their lines and beat the shit out of them.
Seriously, this is turning into a massacre.
You're my
Because
kill.
chaos in the enemy lines, of course it is.
Critical. Target destroyed.
Fox Mauler! Oh boy, he's bad.
He's in fact a baddie.
Oh, this is gonna hurt, this is gonna hurt, this is gonna hurt.
Heat level critical. Target destroyed.
Yes!
Oh,
Kills are here.
praise me. See, the winds of change were in our favor then, and that's how that worked.
I mean, they actually turned out to be in our favor that one match too.
Yeah.
Well, I still died early, but like I said, I usually just like kills brains, so I just run off and do something stupid.
Yes!
Sometimes something stupid works, though, and I'm always amazed when it
It
does.
really did. It worked really well that time. Fucking skill crow.
I mean, I gotta give a bit of credit to the fact that we did have like an MS8 man also with us, so I mean, there was that.
It gave us free reign to just kind of jerk around.
Right?
Alright, game.
54, is this going to be our last one for the evening then?
Yeah, it'll be our last one. Alright. So, seriously, I need a Tourmaline match. Please?
Yes.
Game, can I have Tourmaline?
You'll get it and get 197.
That link is of Kanajashi's impressions of the MechWarrior Academy. If you have not played it in the PTS, I highly recommend playing it when it comes out tomorrow. You get a small C-bill bonus for completing it, and it is actually a fun look at what campaign play would be like in MWO. They really did do a very good job. I'm not overselling it when I say this. I was very impressed.
And just a heads up, if you do watch that video, do be reminded that it was when it was on the PTS server, so it is very much in a beta, so to speak. So, naturally tomorrow, some things will be added, some things will be fixed. So, yeah, maybe give it a shot tomorrow anyway. I know I will.
Yeah, that sound pack. I have it installed, by the way.
I am super curious. What are we What sound pack are we unofficially talking about right now?
We're unofficially talking about a MechWarrior 2 sound pack.
Oh yeah, that one. I saw that
Replaces
a video
all
of
your
that.
cockpit sounds and stuff.
It is so much better.
It is awesome.
However, it is worth noting that this does break the EULA. So
TOS, it's not necessarily supported, but I think a blind
where'd that link come from?
I mean, look, I mean, and this is my honest opinion. I think, as far as microtransactions, PGI is sitting on a gold mine of a lot of things. I mean,
Oh yeah, they are.
Decals, sound packs like that.
Okay.
The ability to cosmetic items for mechs. There are a ton of things that
yeah.
They a while
agree.
back teased like
I can list some things off that
Stop
you.
cutting Phil off, goddammit.
No,
Sorry,
it's our show. We do what
keep
we
going,
want.
Phil. We're being bad about that tonight.
Yeah, you're being fucking awful. And I should have to call you out on it. I want to hear about more things where PGI can make money so I can whale more things for PGI.
Nah, I just think that little things like that, if they could, I mean, the players want it, and that sound pack, in all honesty, I have mine turned down because I can't stand the current bitching Betty, and I have no problem with that. And not to mention, like, the audio cues, like incoming LRMs, you know, oh, left torso crit, you know, he did, like, I don't know why, but that old one is far superior to what I don't know.
Nostalgia.
To me, it's a merged.
nostalgia. Yeah.
I noticed.
Not just
no,
that.
no, it's not.
It's like
Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
It
it's just
conveys the
better.
information a lot better.
Oh yeah, like
Because it says
auditory,
it's like
visual.
critical, so that gets you to listen, and then it tells you where you're crit, instead of the other way around. So instead of being left torso critical, it's critical left torso.
It's.
Well,
But-
I'll try that out.
Yeah, I might give it a
I'll
try.
have to unofficially try that out.
You don't
No, that's
modify
right.
any files too.
Yeah,
all
it's
you do
just-
is drop in one file, and it's not overriding anything. So
Yeah.
I don't.
Cool.
To me, it's a gold mine for PGI, like cosmetic items, like the new Black Knight and all. You know, we've talked about it. Granted, it would take some work, you know, system behind the scenes forever. They do it, but.
Well,
you know,
a
once
while
they get
back-
some of these
There-
things in, it's free money basically. Like,
Yeah.
how much time does your artist spend creating it, and then the profit therein? So, I mean, that's basic. You know,
Yeah, there are things
no,
that
Sans,
they
this is
could
my
put in
turn.
here.
My turn.
Yeah.
I have
Okay,
something
fine, go.
To add.
No, Sans is
Well, a
the
while
one.
back on the, I think
Raise your
one of the
hand.
earlier dev vlogs, they actually mentioned having stuff like this where, you know how the Loyalty Atlas has the special skull? Or the Centurion had that unique shield arm? They talked about possibly doing that and making it so that you could have something like that on multiple mechs.
Tiki Mask Executioner, I need it now.
Fuck
I'll give all the monies. All the monies will be yours, Piggy. Just Tiki Mask me.
New target.
I'm going to talk about something that's imagine probably a little easier. There are a
Welcome to
cosmetic
BearNet,
change
where we
they can
totally don't
put
cut
into the
Sans
game that other players will not even see that people will pay for.
Artillery strike.
Pilot icons for your pilot skill tree. Mech lab stuff that you can just put in the mech lab, like say a sofa chair that's sitting conspicuously behind your battle mech mech lab when it drops into there. I'm sorry, I got kind of fucked up there. I mean, the ability to customize like decals in the mech lab itself.
R&D team has a large laser like stripped apart. lying on the
Yeah,
ground, like
or
the
like if you're a big Liao fan, just like have a bunch of deer coordinator paraphernalia sitting around the mech lab. That shit is a gold mine.
I think actual in-game UI is another thing that.
Yeah.
Totally, 100%.
Yeah.
This is very bad for me. This kills on Majos.
I did not see that firing line there, and it totally cost me my life. And I needed a good game on Viridian. Damn it.
Artillery strike online. Airstrike online. Artillery strike. Heat level critical.
There we go. We'll watch Hikage.
Oh,
Hikage, you're not even hurt. What the fuck are you doing, man?
Target acquired.
He's not rolling damage because he doesn't need to.
Target destroyed. New target acquired. New target acquired. Heat level critical.
I mean, I guess the other thing, right? Like we can complain about systems and you know various other things we want to see in the game and game modes and infotech and whatnot, right? But PGI needs to make money in order to have people to do mechanic changes, right? Because mechanic changes don't make them money. Like that's just the bottom line is having, you know, having 5 guys and then possibly even hiring another 5 guys to work on implementing new game modes, right? Like that's yeah, it adds to the you know, it adds to the spectrum of the game and like perhaps the player base it would appeal to. But at the same time, you know, they're still not adding direct value to the brand itself, right? Whereas some of these simple things where, you know, you throw something in the background, or, you know, even if it's like a pilot uniform or something else that, like, again, like San said, that you simply see and not even other people, people will go nuts for that kind of stuff just because it makes it.
Perfect
it draws,
example: cockpit items.
Right,
Yeah,
it
can
draws
I?
them more into the game.
Yeah.
Just because they get to personalize things to their liking.
I would also like, I think Trems pointed out another good one, being able to make aesthetic changes to the weapon firing, like changing the color of the lasers. This is a pet peeve of mine, being that the light spectrum, clan lasers are supposed to be hotter than inner sphere lasers, right? But clan lasers, by the color spectrum, would actually be cooler than inner sphere lasers based on the color. To that teal color beam that the clan large laser is, that like bright blue beam that the IS large laser is, would actually be hotter. That bright blue is a hotter color.
Well,
it is. It's
well,
and being able to change it would make a dream come true for me.
I guess the only issue is you probably just balance wise, visual cue wise, you have to keep it so that large is blue.
Yeah.
Medium is some.
What you do is you keep it on client side, so if there's any altercation or adjustments or changes, that it's only on client.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good idea.
Potentially do that. Now, granted, I don't know if that's even possible. So, but
yeah, it's totally possible.
Mace Windu purple lasers everywhere.
But you know, Alex, you said something that you said, you know, system changes and whatever don't make money, but I would throw in a caveat. I think they do.
I think they're
a long-term player retention.
Yeah.
It's like saying improving game modes or improving balance is one. Balance is a current thing, but it's also of if you have imbalanced systems, maybe in the long run, what is player retention? If you know, games and if there's a certain thing that's out of whack, it's sort of like community warfare where, you know, there's clear issues. There's clear issues in game modes with group queue and stuff like that. So that's always one thing that I've always sort of argued, which is, you know, going on that topic of like group queue and player choice versus like, you know, player, I guess, player choice versus, you know, balance. To me, it always comes down to balance trumps. And the reason I say that is because longevity. Like in the short term, you may be enjoying it, but then I think we're starting to see some of the cracks of the systems that just have to be fixed before anything else needs to, you know, any more layers on the cake or whatever. But
right. But I'm saying, I think what Alex and I are getting at here is that there's some low-hanging fruit that PGI can reach for quick, that will bring them some extra money in the short term, that doesn't require them to turn away from focusing on balance and mechanics.
Well, and that's why I added that it doesn't add directly to the brand. Like, yes, it does help in long-term scenarios, and I mean, ideally, you want to balance at those two strategies. You want, hey, this is a new cool thing that you can do, and who cares if you're the only one that can see it? It's cool, it's new, buy it. You should do it because new car and it smells nice, and do it because yeah, leather and heated seats.
There was an image posted on Twitter at Russ in regards to the Marauder, and it had a here, I'm going to link it for you guys because I saved this because this is one of those things, I don't know if you saw it, and this is just one of those things that I think is amazing, and it's sort of this idea where I'll drop it in your BearNet chat as well. What I'm talking about is the ability to customize the look. I mean, we know how cool it would be, but it's you're finally bringing that this is my mech aspect. Not only the color, possibly the actual shape, but what you do it is you do it in a way so it doesn't necessarily fuck with the overall shape of the mech.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
That's super cool.
Someone linked that, and all 3 or 4 options, and I think little things like that, the Atlas skull and this and that, and then on top of that, the ability to potentially customize further sound packs through. I mean, there's a lot of things. The microtransactions that would come in here. You'd have to make sure that whatever the hitbox, that it doesn't change or alter the actual like max shape. So in regards to that Marauder, like it wouldn't actually change anything. You're literally just swapping one for the other.
Right?
Yeah.
I would like, and
Well,
this
that
is
makes sense.
yeah, this is a personal thing for a small thing for me. I would like a voice pack which changes Bitching Betty to just Star Colonel Nikolai Malthus. This would make me happy. And if you're playing in an inner sphere mech and you have the the pack, he calls you like clan slurs, like Surat or Stravad.
That would be awesome.
That would be perfect.
So, yeah, I appreciate you guys letting me be on. I mean, the discussion of balance, it's
a tricky one.
So, well, it's not even tricky. It's just so broad. And one thing, me and Darren were talking to Jaeger last week, and we got into the topic of time to kill. Now, on record, he feels he likes where time to kill is. Now, and my retort to him was, yeah, but you're high-level skilled player, comp teams, in all honesty, you guys really don't care what time to kill is, because and he was like, yeah, you're actually totally right. I mean, we're going to adjust regardless. And I think that's another thing is people, when talking about some of these things, ultimately what everyone wants is just a balanced game. And the clans right now are I mean, look how much quirks or what you have to do to make IS even remotely on par with some of these clan mechs. Not all clan mechs, obviously. So it's a select few chassis that are the outliers here. But
because nobody plays the Mistlinks and does well.
Right, so I think there's just fundamental questions that have to be asked. Like what is information warfare? What is the object? Like having clans actually different, I think is a great idea, and that's one thing that I think you have to keep is have them they have to face their target. They have longer durations, maybe a little bit more range, but there just has to be adjustments to across the board. And I was telling this on the stream, some people will fucking bitch and complain that a 75-ton Orion is on par with a 75-ton Timberwolf. But at the heart of this is we have a game. Now, what you could say is, because they're different, one's IS and one clan, it's not always, clear who the winner is going to be. Maybe it depends on the map most of the time. And you could say, okay, well, that's awesome, But right now, they're not. I mean, like I said, underlying system, what I was talking about earlier, it needs to be displayed, whatever changes. Scrandom, I totally agree. I'm 100% agreement that in MechLab, that when you click Mech Stats, it needs to clearly show all this info. But it's an exciting time because, in all honesty, I know a lot of people are disappointed in what the PTS, what it was. But also, we're looking at things changing for the first time in the past 3 years that we know have needed to be adjusted. And then since clans came out, there are clear things. So, this is shedding a light on them.
Right.
Albeit it may not be as fast as everyone likes. It's happening. At least, changes are happening. And, looking at this entire, thing is how broad. I mean, you have 300 plus 12 variant, 300 some odd variants in the game. It's not an easy flip of the switch. It's multiple layers, but I feel like you have to fix those layers before you can even look at the clan versus IS balance, and let alone on a per variant, per chassis level. So
I feel like whatever happens, as long as I can safely pilot Yenla Wang, I will be happy. As long as I can rock the AC-20, you can change everything else, I will be happy.
I just want spreadsheets on land and need to know, how many, warp core disruptors do I need to bring versus stabilizers in order to make sure that my Tech 2 light can properly web you. That's really all I want to know.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've gone over by a little bit of time, but I think that we've hit a good spot to stop the stream here. Phil, thank you for coming on. I think that you helped us get a couple of we might have hit a couple of sore spots as far as our viewers might be concerned, but I think that we got a little bit more out in the open. And PGI, take our list of low-hanging fruit, things that will give you real-world money for, to heart. Anyway.
Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe.
Oh yeah, Majo is... But wait, Alex is actually here. Alex is supposed to be doing this.
I am.
Yeah, what the fuck?
By the way, I just
Below
noticed.
your stream, you don't have any. You don't have
We do actually. If you click the icon, it will actually take you there.
That's already too much.
Yeah, I know.
You need it to say YouTube and then like Facebook.
Yeah.
But
come on, guy.
I just noticed that you guys have a Marauder.
Later
You
now.
guys don't have the new Marauder on your YouTube page.
Hey,
That's
man,
so
that's-
like a few months ago.
That's Ghost job.
Right.
That's not my job. I don't. Oh, did you
Right.
say YouTube.
Yeah.
That is your job.
Oh, God damn
YouTube
it!
is your job.
God damn it!
All right.
I thought I
Anyway.
could throw Ghost to the bus because he goes in here, but no, I'm just.
Alex, you have one job.
I know.
And with
All right.
that,
Anyway, this has been the BearNet. We will see you next time.